Have you ever considered leaving your current job in order to pursue your actuarial dream? Well, becoming a top candidate for actuarial jobs isn't something that happens quickly. It can often take months, sometimes up to a year, sometimes even more, especially if you're trying to juggle a full-time work schedule with your actuarial goals. So that begs the question, should you leave your current job in order to create more time for yourself to pursue your actuarial goals? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's video because the answer isn't obvious. There's a bunch of different things that you need to take into consideration. By the way, I'm Bria, Associate of the Society of Actuaries and founder of the Actuary Accelerator community, where we train future actuaries how to become top candidates and get their very first actuarial job. Now let's get into this video. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so making this decision really comes down to a few key questions. So what I've done is I have created a decision tree that's really going to narrow down exactly what you should do in your specific situation, depending on your answers to some questions. So to start off, it really comes down to, is the position you're currently working in a stepping stone position? Now, if you don't know what a stepping stone position is, I've talked about them on many other videos on this channel, but to give a quick summary, basically this is a job that's going to help give you the relevant experience that actuarial employers would be looking for. So it could be a position where you're doing a lot of data analysis, maybe you're learning a lot about insurance, the terms and concepts, maybe it's a position where you're doing a lot of data entry, maybe it's a position where you're using a lot of numbers, accounting, financial statements, that sort of thing. There are so many different types of stepping stone positions. So if your current position is one where you're gaining that relevant experience that is going to eventually be helpful in getting an actuarial job, then that is considered a stepping stone position. So if the answer is yes to that, then we're going to head down the left side of the decision tree. So next you need to think about how much experience you have in stepping stone positions currently. Now, you might have only been in your current position for maybe a few months, but if you have other stepping stone experience previously, then you're going to combine all the time that you spent in previous positions that are stepping stone positions and also the time you spent in your current position. You're going to combine that all together to determine the number of months that you currently have of related experience. So if you do that and you determine that you have more than 12 months of stepping stone experience or related experience, then you're in a great place because 12 months of experience is the minimum amount of related experience that I recommend you gain in order to be a great candidate or a top candidate for actuarial positions. Okay, so now let's say for a minute that you said yes, you have more than 12 months of experience in a related position. Well, now the decision really comes down to whether or not the company that you're currently working for hires entry-level actuaries. If they do hire entry-level actuaries, then you probably want to keep your current position. That's because this is a really great way to break into the actuarial field. If you're already working in a company that hires entry-level actuaries, it's very likely that eventually you'll be able to switch into an actuarial career. You have your foot in the door, you've hopefully had a good reputation and made a lot of great progress at the company that you're working for. So eventually when the time is right, you will hopefully be able to move into one of those entry-level actuarial positions. So in this case, you really don't want to burn bridges. You probably don't want to leave that company. So in this situation, I would actually recommend that you keep your job. Now, for some of you, that's not going to be the answer that you wanted to hear. Maybe you wanted to actually quit your job so that you could spend more time on your actuarial career, and now I'm saying that you should actually keep that job. Well, if that's the case for you, there are a few things you could do. One is that you could actually consider going part-time. A lot of companies are open to this because they'd rather have a great employee stay with them part-time and continue to work for them than leave them completely. Remember, a lot of training money goes into employees. So if you are able to continue to help them out and stay with the company, even just on a part-time basis, they might be open to that rather than quitting the job completely. Another option might be to ask if you could go remote. So that would save you on some commute time. And now, after everything that has happened in the world, remote positions are much more common and companies will probably be more open to that possibility. So just because I'm recommending that you keep the job doesn't necessarily mean that you have to remain in it full time. There are other options. Okay, so now let's go back to that question where I asked you how many months of experience you have. We talked about if you have more than 12 months of experience, but what if you have less than 12 months of related experience? Well, in this situation, I'm actually going to recommend that you keep your current position. That's because you're gaining some very great experience that you're going to be able to add to your resume and talk about during interviews, but you don't quite have 12 months of experience yet. And like I said, I do really recommend that you aim to achieve at least 12 months of related experience before you start looking for your actuarial job. So if you do want to gain those qualifications, then then this is going to be the best option for you, is to keep your stepping stone position. And again, you could consider going part-time with this position or possibly remote to save yourself some time from work so that you can spend more time on your actuarial goals. Okay, so on the other hand, what if the company you are working for does not hire entry-level actuaries? Well, in this case, you have enough stepping stone or related experience, and this position probably isn't going to help lead you into an actuarial job in the same company. So in this case, I would say that it's okay to quit your job. Okay, so now we've gone through the whole left side of the decision tree. Let's talk about the right side. So on the right side, we're talking about if your current position is not a stepping stone position. So basically, it's not giving you all that experience and a whole bunch of qualifications that are going to help you in getting an actuarial job and to help you perform well in an actuarial job. So in this case, again, I do want you to consider all the past experience you have. How many months of experience do you have that is related to the actuarial career? Now, you might not right now be working in a stepping stone position, but maybe you have in the past. So combine all the past experience you have that is related to the actuarial career and determine how many months of experience that totals. Now, if it's more than 12 months, then that means you have already met that requirement of having 12 months of related experience. So you probably don't really need to keep your current job. It's not helping you to gain more relevant experience, and you already have a lot of experience. So in this case, it would be perfectly fine to quit and focus tons of attention on your actuarial goals so that you can get there quicker. This is something that a member of the AAC recently did, and actually we interviewed her in this video right here. Basically, she was a teacher. She had lots of experience from that was relevant to the actuarial career. Teaching is great because you get a lot of experience with math, explaining complex concepts. You typically have great communication skills and so many other great qualifications. So in this particular case, after joining the AAC, she saw all the steps laid out step by step for her, so she knew exactly what she needed to do. It seemed really feasible for her to do those things, and she had confidence that if she did, she would be able to get an actuarial job afterwards. So what she did was she decided to quit her teaching job with no other job lined up. She went all in on her actuarial goals, did everything she could to become a top candidate, and as you will see in her video on this channel, she ended up getting 4 job offers for actuarial positions once she was a top candidate. So something like this totally is possible. Okay, so now let's think about if you don't have 12 months of experience in related positions. In this case, you're probably going to want to quit your current job because it's not a stepping stone position, and you're going to want to go get a stepping stone position. These types of jobs are so valuable in proving to employers that you would be a great fit for an actuarial career. So you really want to make it a priority to get this experience. So in this case, yes, I would suggest quitting your current position because it's not a stepping stone job and going to get that related experience. Now, with this decision, there's really no right or wrong answer. I'm really just considering the job itself that you're currently working in. But there are so many other factors that you personally might want to take into consideration. Sometimes it's just not feasible to go all in on your actuarial goals and not make any money. So that's something to consider. You'll want to take into consideration the likelihood of actually getting an actuarial job. Like, are you really going to go all in and do all the steps you can to make sure that you have the best possible chance of getting that job? And you're also going to want to consider the time it's going to take to become a top candidate. Sometimes when future actuaries are not working, they tend to spend all their time on our actuarial goals and they get burnt out. I did a video about burnout a few weeks ago, so you can go watch that one here. But do remember that it does take time to become a top candidate. It's not something that you're going to be able to achieve in 2 or 3 months, most likely. So that's really another thing to consider when you're making this decision. Okay, so now for most future actuaries that are really trying to make this decision, something that often holds them back is the fact that they may not be 100% sure that they want to go into this career. So I have 2 videos that you absolutely must watch. That's this one right here, about the 7 things I wish I knew before becoming an actuary, and this video right here that explains how to know if you're going to like being an actuary. So go watch those videos next, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye for now.